What's good, y'all, man? It is your boy Sniper Kicks, and today's video is a highly suggested video that a lot of people wanted me to make, and it's going to be about how to get shoes early, backdooring, all that good stuff, how to do it, what the steps you got to take, when you should backdoor, when you shouldn't, when is the time, the best time to do it. I'm going to go through all of that info, and it's just give me a background about me. So I resell full time. My collection's in the back, got over 100 pairs, and there's a lot of things that goes into sneaker reselling. And one of my goals of this channel is to teach you guys how to resell, how to get shoes, how to cop shoes for retail and everything. So I'm gonna give you some insight on backdooring, because backdooring is notorious in the sneaker community, and I want to give you guys tips of how to get shoes early, how to get shoes backdoor, or if you should even try to get shoes backdoor, because a lot of people mistaken that when you get shoes backdoored it's for a retail price. No, you're paying a price that sometimes is not even worth it. So I'm gonna go through all those details because a lot of newbies want to know, hey, Sniper Kicks, how do I get shoes early? And we're gonna go through it right now. So first of all, how to get shoes backdoored. We're just gonna dive right into it. Most of the time is about relationships, but before I talk about relationships, there is some times where you can go to a store. Like literally last year when the smoke grays were coming out, I went to a store down on the west side. If you're from Chicago, you probably know this store. I went inside the store and literally the manager hit me up, was like, hey bro, you want these smoke grays, man? I can give it to you 2 weeks early, pay me this, this, and this. Literally, I didn't go in there just trying to get the smoke grays. He literally approached me and said, like, hey, I got these, hey, give me this, and I got you with the smoke grays 2 weeks early. I didn't pursue it, but the dude pursued me. Literally, that doesn't happen a lot. That does not happen a lot. There's rare occasions where people are money hungry and you look like someone that wants stuff early, they might approach you, but that happens maybe 5% of the time. Most of the time, you have to create relationships with these people. Like last year during COVID, that's when I was really, getting shoes, for instance, backdoor to me. But, now I don't do that because we'll talk about it later in the video, because I don't want to pay that premium price. But the relationships are so key. When you go into a store, like for instance, usually you want to go into mom and pop stores because their rules are a little bit, loose than for instance, a Foot Locker, where they have the QR codes and the scans, and it's hard to get those pairs backdoor, but you still can. Well, I'm going to go into that further in detail later in the video. But you usually want to go to your neighborhood sneaker store that gets the retros. That's usually the spot where you really want to focus on getting backdoor pairs. But most of the time you gotta create relationships with these people, because a lot of times they don't really care who you are. It's like, hey, you go to the store like, hey, I got 20,000, give me all the retros you got. They're gonna be like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? So this is what you need to do. You need to go into the store and you need to start buying stuff from the store. They need to know your face. If they don't know your face, they're going to be hesitant of even doing business with you behind closed doors. So go in there, buy stuff, and always be friendly with people. I talk about this book all the time on my channel. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a book that everybody should read if you're trying to grow a business, because a lot of times, most of the time, 99% of the time is about relationships and who you know and who can do favors for you and everything. So the first thing you want to do if you want to get, make those relationships to get those backdoor pairs, go into the store, start shopping with the store first. Shop with them, buy retro here, buy some Air Force Ones. Don't just buy the retros. Get some inventory out their store. So buy a couple things, chop it up with them. Relationships are so key, man. There was a guy, man, that literally, that basically anything that I needed, not anything that I needed, but if I needed like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes, he would call me all the time, like, hey, bro, hey, you need this, we got this in the store. Hey, come shoot right here. It's about relationships. So buy stuff in the store, talk to everybody. Just talk to everybody. And when you start going around there, you can talk about more in-depth stuff. You can exchange numbers with that person or exchange IGs with that person, and just keep going there, because when they know your face, now you can go into like, hey bro, man, I'm trying to get this shoe, this like a couple weeks early, what you can do for me. But that rapport, that relationship has to be there first. So it's going to take time. You got to invest. The best thing you can do in business, any business, especially sneakers, is to invest in people. Plant that seed right then and there. Because when you plant that seed, now over time, like I said, over time, you'll be able to get more and more and more from that store. But first plant that seed, shop with the people. That's planting the seed. Shop with the people, chop it up with them. Later on you get a more depth. Hey, how's the family? This and that. Like literally, that's what you need to do to start building those relationships and start getting shoes backdoored. But once you get, that stuff, out the way, you're getting stuff backdoored. Now you gotta have a cost analysis, because now these stores, back in the day, like a year ago when I was getting stuff backdoored, the price for shoes weren't that high. Like a lot of stores weren't charging those ridiculous price for their early shoes. Now they are, because they understand like, hey, people, the resale, bubble has burnt. Like there's so many people that want to resell that they know like, hey, I can get, $330, $340, instead of, me trying to pay $240 for them. You get what I'm saying? So you got to do a cost analysis, because, you get in the pair early, 2 weeks early, or you get in the pair on release date for whatever, $300. You have to have that clientele to end up selling that shoe for $100 already. So you get it for $340. Now you got to get your clients to buy it for $440. So you really got to do a cost analysis on that too, because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, you can get stuff backdoored, but can you sell the stuff? Can you sell the stuff? That is the biggest thing. But let's take a pause on that and let's flip subjects. We talked about mom and pops. Mom and pops, those are your best places. Always network with those people. Always, talk with them, build those relationships, and eventually you can get your stuff backdoored. But hey, those relationships are key. First, now let's talk about the retail stores like Shoe Palace. I know we don't have Shoe Palace in, Illinois, but my sister's in Denver, and there's been Shoe Palace is notorious for backdooring. They're notorious for backdooring. But, with Shoe Palace, like I said, is a bigger retail change. Same thing goes with the mom and pops. You gotta build relationships. And one thing you gotta know too is when you're building these relationships and they're hooking you up, you always gotta look out for them. The worst thing you can do is, a store gives you 20 pairs. You get to that point where they're backdooring you 20 pairs, and you don't look out for them. Like, you don't be like, hey, bro, yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Especially if they give you for a great price. Like, especially if they give it to you for a great price. Like, yeah, bro, yeah, if you need anything, let me know. Buy them lunch, like do something so they can feel, like, hey, he actually appreciates me. The worst thing you can basically do is not make that person that's hooking you up feel appreciated. Because like, man, this dude's not making me feel appreciated. Man, I'm gonna cut ties with him. I got another reseller over there that will pay me more and will appreciate me more. So that is the biggest thing. Like for instance, my brother's in DC. He's a way bigger reseller than me. So if you guys think I'm a pretty big reseller, he's a huge reseller. He's in medical school, paying for it in cash from sneaker reselling, and has investment. He's doing a lot of stuff, and the basis of where his revenue is coming is from sneakers. And he has a lot of Backdoor plugs down in DC, and they give all of his shoes for almost retail, because he's built those relationships with those people for years, literally years. Like when they had shoes that they needed to get out, he would buy all of them. He would buy all of them and sell them. Like the stuff that they needed out the store, he would buy it, because he was basically hooking them up, like getting their numbers up and their, on their quota, because he was just, looking out for them. Now he has a whole bunch of pairs of those Jordan White Oreos already secure that he has in hand already, because of the relationships that he, formed years ago. And, now it's paying off. Like the best thing you can do is invest in people. And I know a lot of people are watching this video like, man, that seems like a lot of work. Hey, if you want to be able to do this for a living and get pairs early and get stuff backdoored, you gotta start planting those seeds. You have to start planting those seeds. And those will definitely pay dividends for you years from now, because they're like, hey man, I know this dude right here, he really looks out for me. I give him my inventory, he always is grateful for it, stuff like that. So it's like, hey, that's what you need to do to be able to get shoes early and get stuff backdoored for you. And let's talk about getting shoes early too. Yes, once you follow all those steps, like I said before, you get shoes early. And I talked about cost analysis, but I'm going to go in depth about cost analysis. Like I said, these stores know the resale market. And if you're getting a shoe, for instance, a month early, those stores will know, like, hey, I know it's retailing for 200, 300, man. I see it's going for 350 on the market. Give me 300 a pop. That's how, business is done now, because of like I said, the reselling is like, everybody wants to resell. So these stores know, like, hey, if you're not going to buy it, I know somebody else that's going to, pay that price. So $300, bow, you got it for $300. I recommend, if you get early pairs, get them at least a month early, because that's where you can basically you can get a higher price for that shoe. Because if you think about this, if you get a shoe a week early, and they say, hey, I want 300, and the resale price is 300, right then and there. Some people's like, hey, I'm gonna wait till release day, take my luck on sneakers. Hey, the resale price drops for 250. Now you have shoes that you bought for 300, and now the resale price dropped on release day, because people say, I'll wait that week. So now you have a whole bunch of shoes that you just paid the high for, and now you're losing money. So what I recommend when people get early pairs, always try to get it the earliest as you can. At 2 weeks or beyond. 2 weeks or beyond. Because if you get it like a week early, some people will just wait and be like, hey, I know you're charging $320 for it. I'm going to see if I'm going to wait until, next week when it comes out. If I take my L, I'll come to you. And then they'll say, hey, the market is $240 now. So, that's the risk that you take when you get early pairs that are not too early. If you get them early enough, you can charge that premium price, but you always got to jack up that price, because you're paying the high from that store. That's not the case with everybody. Like I said with my brother, he gets a lot of his stuff close to retail price from his Backdoor plug, because he's been dealing with them for years. And like I said, how to win friends and influence people, he knows them on a personal level, so they can, sure, they could get somebody else that gives them more money, but since they have that close connection with him, they're like, hey, you've been with us, you've been rocking with us for a while, so we will give you, what we've been doing before, close to retail price, probably $20 above, and you get basically a whole bunch of our stock, if not all of it. So that's the thing, man. That is the thing with these. It's about relationships, man. It's definitely about relationships. And let's flip to Foot Locker, the bigger chain retailers. Yes, you can get, things backdoored from those stores, shoes backdoored, but it's a little bit harder. The best you can do is get stuff, held for you. Like, for instance, leftover day. There are so many stores that are notorious on leftover day of saying they have no leftovers, but they have a whole bunch, but they're saving them and backdooring them to other, resellers or other people that they have connections with. Leftover day is basically Foot Locker's way of, almost backdooring, because, with their inventory, usually it's in the system. Now, with the Flex app, their inventory usually is in the system, so they can't just sell it offhand like, hey, I got a size 11, from the whatever, the Jordan 4 white Oreos, I'm gonna give it to you, and it's accounted for in inventory in the barcode and everything, so they really can't do that. What a lot of stores do is that on that next day, when they can release their pairs, they'll hold, like, they got 20 left, they'll hold the whole 20 for a person. I've seen it happen before, and I've seen people that held stuff for me before. But again, it's about relationships. Go to the store, shop, be friendly with the people, and exchange information with them. Don't do it on the first day. You can do it on the first day. I have done it on the first day, but you can exchange it for, hey bro, hey, what leftovers you got? Hey man, we got a 9.5, 11.5, 12. Hey, can you hold those 3 sizes for me, man? I got you, bro. And then you'd be like, hey bro, thanks for looking out for me. Here's an extra 50 for you. Hey, here's an extra 100 for you. And then you got 3 pairs of shoes that you're gonna make way more than $100 on. So that's the thing, man. That is the thing with getting some backdoor. And it's really about relationships. So if you're a beginner reseller, if you're a vet reseller, you can always, make relationships so you can get more shoes. Now with me, as you guys see, I resell for a living. I don't really do backdooring like that anymore because I do not, my strategy of reselling is getting the shoe for retail and then just charging, that premium so I can make my money. Me, with getting stuff backdoor, I did it more last year because stores weren't charging that high of a price last year because reselling wasn't as big as it is now. So I can get a shoe, for instance, like those top 3 Jordan 5s, I can get 20 pairs of those for maybe 30 bucks, 40 bucks above retail. But now, hey, if you want to get a shoe early or get a shoe backdoor from these stores, they're like, hey bro, hey man, I'm gonna need $300 for it. $100 over retail, I'm like, I'm good. It's so funny. It was I forgot what release it was. I think it was the University Blue release. Yes, the University Blue release. I was at a store, a small mom and pop in Chicago. Not really a mom and pop, it's a smaller retailer. And they were literally arguing of how much they're going to charge for the backdoor pairs for the University Blue one. Like, hey man, I'm charging $280 for my pairs. Hey man, no, I'm charging $330 for my pairs. Hey man, I'm charging literally, I'm in the store and they're debating. Each of the employees were debating like how much they're charging for the University Blue ones. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. But my guy said like, hey bro, I know you've been rocking with me, bro. Give me, I forgot what price he said. He's like, man, give me $280 for each. Give me $280 for each, I got you. And then the other dude's like, hey bro, man, I'm selling mine for like $340. So it's funny, bro. It's funny when you go in those stores, especially if they know you. They be literally talking about how much they're gonna backdoor their pairs for. So it's, man, sometimes it's the money. You gotta pay to play. A lot of times you gotta pay to play. And for me, I got kind of off backdooring because of how much these stores really want to get these pairs. But hey, if you have the clientele and you can charge a high price for it, do it. And don't get this in, guys. What you guys need to understand, what you really need to understand is make sure you're making profit. A lot of people just like to flex. You see people with whatever, Hyper Royals a month early with all these, but not knowing they paid $500 a pop for those, $400 a pop for them. And they sold them for $420. Don't they make 20 buck profit on each of those? So don't do it just to flex. Do it to actually have results. Because a lot of sneaker resellers just are big-headed and think like, hey, I want to show everybody that I'm making money, but they're really not. So make sure you're doing it for results and not to flex. That's why I said be very careful when you're getting stuff backdoored and getting stuff early. Do a cost analysis. See if you have the clientele to charge that price high. See if you have if that's even a good price for you to even pay, because you don't want to charge your customers $500 for them. Just make sure you do those things before you just go off and buy shoes. But like I said, guys, you need to do the footwork now and build those relationships, because if you do, you can start getting shoes early. You can start getting stuff backdoored. And even like this, and guys, also I want to talk about is even create relationships with other resellers. You might not have the backdoor plug, but another reseller might have the backdoor plug. Like literally, guys, this shoe right here, let me take it out. Bro, this shoe right here, I got these shoes months early. Literally, I got the Grinches months early. It is not because I knew the guy that backdoored them, the Nike plug that backdoored these. I knew the person that knew the Nike guy that backdoored these. So he hooked me up with these Grinches. And a lot of people's like, what? How you get the Grinches so early? How you get them 2 months early? It's because the relationships that I formed, and he was able to, say like, hey man, this guy, he backdoored a whole bunch of these Grinches. Hey, you want a few? And of course, he's my guy. Great relationships. And he hooked me up with a great price for these Grinches. Like a ridiculous great price for these Grinches. It's because the relationships are so key. And another story I want to talk about is, I want to talk about these Kobe's right here. Like, I didn't get these backdoored for me, but I literally had someone hold these for me without me even knowing, because of relationships, guys. I literally went to the store 3 hours early. If you watched the video, you already know. And just because I was really nice to, the employees there, and they really know me, and I always ask about like how's everything going? Hey, how's your family? This and that. They literally held a size 14 for me. Literally. And I'm like, hey, I didn't even expect it. It's because of relationships that I formed. They told me, hey man, do the surveys for me. I'm always doing a survey for them. Relationships, I'm doing it right there on the spot, so they know that I'm doing it for them. And now I I got a Kobe. Always be nice to people, man. Always build those relationships, because if you do, man, you will be very successful, not in just sneakers, but in life. Because, you know, people, man, if you invest in people, great things can happen, because they will look out for you and plant those seeds, and you will be able to do whatever you want with sneakers, do whatever you want in business, because a lot of time is who you know. Guys, man, I really appreciate you guys watching this video, man. I want to give you guys more insight on sneaker reselling, because as you guys know, I do this for a living, and it's been a process, man. Like I said, sowing the right seeds, being able to know how to sell shoes, and I'm going to go through all of that. And I know you guys want more sneaker reselling videos, and I will get that to you guys, and I really appreciate you guys for all the support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps with the channel, and let's keep growing, guys. Really appreciate you guys. Sniper Kiss out. Peace.